Welcome to our channel, A Person Life Cycle. Have you ever wondered why certain words hurt you more than they should? Why criticism can make you feel small, rejection can feel unbearable, or being ignored can bring up emotions that seem much bigger than the situation itself? Sometimes, the person reacting in the present is carrying emotions from the past. The idea of the inner child refers to the younger part of ourselves that carries memories, emotional needs, beliefs, and experiences from childhood. Healing your inner child does not mean literally becoming a child again. It means understanding how earlier experiences may still influence the way you think, feel, and behave today. Healing is not about blaming your parents, your childhood, or yourself. It is about recognizing what happened, understanding what you needed, and learning how to give yourself healthier responses today. Chapter 1. The Child You Once Were. Every adult was once a child who was learning what the world was like. A child learns about safety through relationships. They learn whether it is acceptable to express emotions, whether mistakes are forgiven, whether their needs matter, and whether they can trust other people. But childhood is not perfect. Some children experience obvious trauma or neglect. Others grow up in relatively loving homes, but still experience moments that deeply affect them. Being constantly criticized, compared with others, ignored, pressured to succeed, or made to feel that their emotions were inconvenient. A child may not have the ability to understand these experiences logically. Instead, they may create conclusions such as, "I am not good enough. I have to be perfect to be loved. I must never disappoint people. My feelings don't matter. I cannot trust anyone." These beliefs can sometimes follow a person into adulthood. The adult may understand intellectually that the past is over, but emotionally, certain situations can still activate those old feelings. Chapter 2. How childhood can follow you into adulthood. Imagine an adult receiving a small criticism from their manager. The criticism is reasonable, but they immediately feel ashamed. They become anxious and spend hours thinking about what they did wrong. Another person might experience rejection and immediately think, "Nobody wants me." Someone else may have difficulty asking for help because they learned early in life that showing weakness was unacceptable. These reactions don't necessarily mean something is wrong with the person. Sometimes they are learned patterns. Childhood experiences can influence how people understand themselves, relationships, conflict, rejection, failure, and love. For example, fear of rejection. You may constantly seek approval because you learned that acceptance could disappear when you made mistakes. Perfectionism. You may believe that being successful is the only way to deserve respect or love. Difficulty expressing emotions. You may have learned that crying, anger, sadness, or fear were unacceptable. People-pleasing. You may prioritize everyone's needs because keeping others happy once felt necessary for maintaining peace. Fear of abandonment. You may become overly attached to people because losing relationships feels especially threatening. The important point is this: understanding the origin of a pattern does not mean you are permanently controlled by it. Awareness creates the possibility of change. Chapter 3. Healing begins with understanding. Healing your inner child begins with compassion rather than judgment. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" try asking, "What happened that taught me to respond this way?" That small change in perspective can be powerful. Maybe you learned to stay quiet because speaking up created conflict. Maybe you became a perfectionist because mistakes were heavily criticized. Maybe you stopped asking for help because your needs were dismissed. Maybe you became independent because you learned not to rely on others. These behaviors may have once served a purpose. They may have helped you survive emotionally in an environment you couldn't control. But something that protected you as a child may not be necessary in the same way as an adult. Healing means learning to distinguish between what protected you in the past and what serves you now. Chapter 4. Listening to your emotional reactions. One of the most useful ways to understand your inner world is to pay attention to emotional triggers. When you experience an unusually strong reaction, Pause before judging yourself. Ask, what happened? What am I feeling? What am I afraid will happen? What does this situation remind me of? What do I need right now? For example, someone doesn't respond to your message. The situation itself may be simple, but your mind might immediately say, they don't care about me. Instead of immediately believing that thought, pause. Perhaps the deeper fear is, I'm afraid of being forgotten. Now you are no longer simply reacting to a text message. You are beginning to understand the emotional need underneath the reaction. That awareness is an important part of healing. Chapter 5. Giving yourself what you needed. Healing isn't only about understanding the past. It is also about creating a different experience in the present. If you needed encouragement as a child, learn to encourage yourself. If you needed permission to make mistakes, allow yourself to be imperfect. If you needed someone to listen, learn to listen to your own emotions instead of immediately suppressing them. If you were constantly criticized, practice speaking to yourself with patience. This can feel strange at first. You might even hear an internal voice saying, you're being too sensitive. Instead, try, my feelings are real, and I can choose how to respond to them. Or, making a mistake doesn't make me a failure. Or, I don't have to earn my worth through perfection. These statements are not magic solutions. They are ways of developing a more compassionate relationship with yourself. Chapter 6. Learning to set boundaries. Healing also means recognizing that you are allowed to have boundaries. Many people who grew up trying to keep everyone happy struggle to say no. They may feel guilty for protecting their time, energy, or emotional space. But saying no does not automatically make you selfish. You can care about someone without accepting everything they ask of you. You can love your family while establishing healthy boundaries. You can forgive someone without allowing them unlimited access to your life. You can understand someone's behavior without accepting harmful treatment. A healthy boundary says, I respect you, and I also respect myself. That is an important lesson for the adult who once believed that love required self-sacrifice. Chapter 7. You don't have to blame your childhood. Healing does not require finding someone to blame. Your parents may have made mistakes. Your teachers may have failed you. Other people may have hurt you. And you may also have made mistakes yourself. But staying trapped in blame can keep your attention focused on what cannot be changed. The past cannot be rewritten. What can change is your relationship with the past. You can say, this happened to me, but it does not have to define the rest of my life. You can acknowledge the pain without allowing it to become your identity. You can learn from your childhood without living inside it. Chapter 8. Becoming the adult you needed. Perhaps the deepest part of healing is realizing that you are now an adult. The child you once were had limited choices. You may have depended on adults for safety, approval, food, shelter, and emotional support. But today, you have more choices. You can leave unhealthy relationships. You can choose supportive friends. You can learn new skills. You can seek professional help when necessary. You can create a peaceful home. You can take care of your body. You can rest. You can say no. You can change careers. You can apologize. You can begin again. You cannot change what happened to the younger version of yourself, but you can change what happens to you now. In a sense, healing means becoming the safe adult that your younger self needed. Chapter 9. Healing is not forgetting. Healing doesn't mean that you will never feel sadness, anger, fear, or insecurity again. You may still have difficult days. Certain memories may still hurt. Some situations may still trigger old emotions. The difference is that you gradually become better at recognizing what is happening inside you. Instead of automatically reacting, you learn to pause. Instead of attacking yourself, you learn compassion. Instead of repeating old patterns, you begin choosing new ones. Healing is not, I never feel pain anymore. Healing is closer to, pain no longer controls every decision I make. Chapter 10. When professional help can matter. Some childhood experiences are extremely painful, including abuse, neglect, loss, or severe trauma. In these situations, trying to handle everything alone may not be the best approach. A qualified mental health professional can provide a safe environment to explore difficult experiences and develop healthier ways of coping. There is no shame in asking for help. In fact, asking for help can be an act of courage. You don't have to understand everything by yourself. Conclusion: you are allowed to grow beyond your past. The child inside you does not need you to spend the rest of your life blaming the past. That child needs understanding. That child needs compassion. And most importantly, that child needs to know that the adult you have become can take care of them now. You may have been taught that you weren't good enough. You may have been taught to hide your emotions. You may have learned to please everyone, fear rejection, avoid mistakes, or carry everything alone. But learned patterns can be changed. Your past may explain some of your behavior. It does not have to determine your future. Healing begins when you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and begin asking, "What happened to me? What do I need? And what can I choose differently today?" You cannot go back and protect the child you once were, but you can protect yourself now. You can speak to yourself with kindness. You can create healthier relationships. You can set boundaries. You can forgive yourself for the things you didn't know. And little by little, you can become the person your younger self needed. Your childhood is part of your story, but it is not the ending. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may be on their own journey of healing the child within. Remember, your past may be part of your story, but it does not have to define your future. Take care of yourself, and see you in the next video.